Why is it that now, 200 years after the onset of industrialism, we have not made more progress on the industrialization of housing construction? The fact that construction prices have increased at twice the rate of other industries between 1968 and 2010 makes this a highly relevant question. However, there has been a certain amount of development over the years, so let's take a brief look at the past. In the 1960s, the Swedish Parliament made a decision to implement a massive housing production initiative. The aim was to build 1 million homes in 10 years, an initiative known as the Million Program. Prefabricated production experienced a significant boost, which led to an increase in production efficiency that resulted in an increase in housing construction. However, solutions that facilitated production were given priority, and crane tracks determined the architecture. In the 1980s, the industry turned their eyes to the automotive industry. Car manufacturers managed to increase their efficiency and reduce their costs by purchasing entire systems from subcontractors rather than individual materials. Housing construction firms embraced this mindset by starting to work with prefabricated standard modules. For example, complete bathroom units were created in factories and shipped in their entirety to construction sites. Another approach involved a shift from general contracts to turnkey contracts, allowing contractors' experience and expertise to benefit projects to a greater extent. By the mid-1990s, there was a desire to further rationalize the construction process. The modular approach was taken one step further and combined components as efficiently as possible. This resulted in various standardized buildings. The idea was to make everything customers couldn't see efficient and identical for each project. This was rationale, of course, but it also created a wide range of architectural challenges and limited freedom of choice in terms of internal and external design. Let's now take a look at VeidekkeMAX, MAX, the fourth generation of industrial housing construction. VeidekkeMAX MAX is not just a product. It's a holistic approach comprising product, organization, and process. To put it simply, this is a revolutionary way of combining efficiency with quality, and it also happens to be a more enjoyable working method for everyone involved. So let's take a journey to see what's so great about VeidekkeMAX. MAX. We'll start off with the design phase. Traditional design is a bit like a relay race. The designers often work independently, and when they finish their part of the design work, the next person takes over. With VeidekkeMAX, MAX, we do things differently. We involve everyone right from the outset: the customer, architect, designers, suppliers, subcontractors, and of course, our own staff who will be working on the project. Design work is carried out in real time using virtual models, and everyone involved works in the same room at the same time. This reduces the time required to get answers to questions. Questions that might ordinarily take weeks to get answered can be resolved in just a few minutes. Our focus on the whole picture creates the right conditions for future production. As a result, VeidekkeMAX MAX projects have fewer faults on final delivery compared with similar reference projects. The next step in a traditional project is the planning phase. But we can skip this because we've already done this work in our design phase. By model simulating the planned production together with everyone involved means we've already constructed the building before we even set foot on the construction site. This is one of the reasons why VeidekkeMAX MAX projects can be implemented 35% faster than similar reference projects. So let's move on to the production phase instead. And this is where we really pick up the pace. We flatten out the traditional construction site organization and remove unnecessary time-consuming hierarchy. We prioritize cooperation and collective planning rather than subsequent verification. Our laborers are thoroughly involved in planning and preparation, thereby avoiding unnecessary checks, misunderstandings, and duplication. Instead, we derive maximum benefit from each individual and give everyone involved greater responsibility. In traditional projects, it's estimated that approximately 30 to 50% of production time is spent on activities that don't add value. Production on VeidekkeMAX MAX projects is at least 10% more efficient. This efficiency is not achieved at the expense of quality, but is created by means of smart planning and involvement early on. which results in fewer production defects. Quite simply, we do it right from the start. Faster project implementation has a number of advantages. It results in less capital tied up and lower overheads for such things as labor and establishment costs. Moreover, it means shorter intervention in the local area during implementation. So let's now look at the advantages of the finished product. A VeidekkeMAX MAX building is a system of components and detailed solutions, but it is not a standardized building with architectural limitations. In other words, the VeidekkeMAX MAX system offers outstanding flexibility in terms of external design. The building itself is made up of solid materials and robust solutions. No organic materials are used in facades or bathrooms, so as to minimize the risk of problems with moisture. We use lightweight aggregate concrete instead of standard plastered walls. This allows us to make homes quieter and allows people to actually hang things on the walls. If you prefer, we can of course certify the building with the Nordic Eco label. So let's sum up. VeidekkeMAX MAX is a holistic approach comprising product, organization, and process. It's a revolutionary way of uniting production efficiency with quality and industrialism with humanism. A faster, better, and more enjoyable way of building.